Hi, my name is Michelle Biodrowski. I'm an environmental educator here with Potawatomi Conservation. Today we're going to go on Badger Ridge Trail to do a wildflower hike. This is about an early summer time that we're going to find these flowers. And if you come to Hitchcock and go on Badger Ridge Trail within the next week or so, you should be able to see these too. So here at Hitchcock Nature Center, this is one of the first blooming flowers we've come across. This is a pretty early summer plant. It is called Smooth Penstemon, also called as foxglove beard tongue, which is a pretty sweet name for a plant. You could see that it's got these tubular white flowers, and I think it's really interesting is that the anthers that hold the pollen, it's got like a really dark black or dark blue pollen, which is really kind of distinct and interesting for a plant. So I don't have all of these plants memorized myself. There's no way that I could do that. So you don't have to do that either, and there's all kinds of guides that you can use. Right now I'm using this one. It's called the Field Guide to Wildflowers, and it's by Neil Ratzliff and Ronald Barth. This one is categorized by color, so if you have a blooming flower, it's faster and easier to find what they are. And right now here it says Smooth Penstemon. So I knew this was a Penstemon, but I was like, what kind of Penstemon was it? I checked the book, it says Smooth Penstemon. Alright, and we found another one of our early summer white blooming flowers. This one here is called Prairie Larkspur. And if you can see, towards the back of the tube of the flower, there's kind of a spur. That's where all the nectar is held. So it's good for bees with the longer tongues, or hummingbirds, or butterflies. It's harder for smaller bees with smaller tongues to get to. But these are very pretty. They've got very thin and fine leaves, like this. And the stem of the flower is really fuzzy, so it's a really cute one to find. I kind of think they look like jumping dolphins. Okay, here we have a really cool plant, and maybe I think it's really cool because it's newer to me. This is a common name, horse gentian. It's in the honeysuckle family, and it has these really pretty kind of maroon flowers, and when they are pollinated and they ripen, they make a nice cute little orange berry. And they have these scalloped leaf edges, not quite teethy, but scalloped. They're kind of, I don't know, an interesting texture, and then the leaves are fuzzy. So this is a really cool find. So on a lot of these horse gentians, we're finding a lot of insect evidence of caterpillars chomping on the leaves. We saw a yellowish green caterpillar earlier. I'm not sure what kind it is, but that just goes to show that these are good food for our caterpillar friends. Here we have another flower. This one is a nice pretty yellow bloom. It's in the pea family, and we call it sweet clover, but it's actually not so sweet. It's a non-native invasive plant that tends to make big colonies and pushes out any other species. It is, however, good for pollinators, and honeybees especially really like it, and they make pretty good honey out of it. This bright orange flower is called Hoary Puccoon, and it's hoary because it's fuzzy. And they're very bright, very pretty little flowers. Here we have a really cool plant that doesn't have the most showy flowers, but this is false Gromwell. It's very fuzzy, and it's also known as a marble seed plant because when it has its seeds, the seeds are little white, kind of marble looking seeds, and they're super hard. And it has this really cool kind of spiral inflorescence, but as the new flowers come up, they're in a spiral. So we found something here that has started blooming quite a while ago, but we found some of the later ones. This is blue-eyed grass, and it doesn't look super blue right here, but they also come in white varieties of blue-eyed grass. It's actually an iris. So there's still some of these holding on. Here's another one of the early blooming flowers that has held on till this part of the year. This is called a bastard toadflax, and it's named after someone whose last name is Bustard, but we call him bastard toadflax. Here is a very pretty flower. It's in the Anemone family, And when it goes to seed, it has a fluffy white seed head. So people tend to call it candleflower because it kind of looks like a candle when it's in seed. I've been saying a lot about how pretty and gorgeous and cute these flowers are, but they're way more important than how they look. They're an integral part of our ecosystem here in the Les Hills, and without them there would be no food for all the insects that we have and our pollinators. And then there would be no food for any of the birds that want to eat those guys, or for the amphibians. So they're really a really important part of the food web as well as being pretty. Here's another one of our white petaled flowers. This is a daisy fleabane. Oh, and there's actually a little tiny bee on it right now. So obviously an important plant for pollinators. It has a multitude of tiny, tiny little white daisy-like petals. And people used to think that it would help keep fleas away. That's why it's called daisy fleabane. I don't know if that's true. This yellow flower here is prairie ragweed. It's another one of our sunshiny, beautiful flowers we have here that are much more than beautiful, very important to the food web. We found a very bright and purpley flower here. This is called loco weed. It's usually found in some of our more quality remnants we have here at Hitchcock. And it is known to make cows go crazy if they eat it. There's some kind of chemical compound in there that supposedly makes them hallucinate, but it's hard to tell if a cow is hallucinating or not because they can't tell you. However, regardless, loco weed is a very pretty flower to find out here. Alright, here we found a pale purple coneflower. Now these are just starting to bloom, so this one isn't in full bloom yet, but they will have these longer pale purple petals and they kind of tilt down towards the stem. It's the cousin to our more common purple coneflowers that you see in people's yards, but this is the wild or prairie cousin. In a couple of days these will be blooming all along Badger Ridge Trail.